Dan here, Scooterotica. Welcome back to the garage. Right, just a very quick video to highlight a product which is available. It may be that many people already know about this, but for me, I didn't actually know these were available, so it was quite a little treat and something that I wanted to draw attention to. We had a customer booked in for a dyno today, and he had a Vespa with the Pinasco 251 kit on it. He bought one of the complete engine kits that you can buy with all the components in. So the Pinasco casings, the reed block, the Pinasco Flytech ignition system, the reed valve crank, and of course the Pinasco kit. And it comes in at 251 cc's. Great kit. They also come with a Pinasco box exhaust, but he didn't want to use that. He's got it spare, and we've had a conversation. He's going to trial it out. But he wanted something. He likes the look and the sound and the power delivery of expansion chambers. So he went for the Nordspeed expansion pipe, the Nordspeed touring expansion pipe. And so that was all fine. We got it up on the dyno, and there was a couple of little issues with the scooter, which I discussed with him. We had a chat about, and one thing and another, and worked through those. But for me, the best part of doing the dyno was the fact that he had a AirFuel sensor, a Lambda sensor, fitted to the scooter. Now, we've all seen or most of us have seen the SIP Speedos, which are available for Vespa and Lambretta scooters. And most of us, are aware that you can have add-ons to those, like a pickup for the RPM, see what revs your scooter's running at. You can get cylinder head temperature gauges to monitor engine temperatures, which are really useful. If for example you know that your engine runs at a particular temperature and then suddenly you're out riding and you see a spike in temperature, that can make you quickly aware that there's potentially a problem with the scooter, and to perhaps pull over and investigate and see if there's an air leak or something's fallen off or there's a problem. So really useful analytic tools whilst you're out riding, and can save you big bills in engine rebuilds if you can catch something before it actually happens. But what I didn't know was available until today is that you can get these Lambda sensors as part of the kit, and it just plugs into the same setup on the SIP Speedo. And the Nordspeed Exhaust already has the boss in place, because on a standard exhaust that didn't have one of these, there's a threaded boss that you would need to have welded into the expansion pipe, and I think perhaps that will put a lot of people off, but I don't think it's that big of a job for a decent welder to have that fitted. But the Nordspeed pipe already comes with the boss, the threaded boss, welded in specifically for this. So when the scooter was on the dyno, his Lambda sensor was running, and I could check out his SIP Speedo, and it still uses the degree Celsius symbol, but it's actually the AirFuel, and you can see when you blip the throttle, it might, go up as rich as 11 to 1, or then when it's ticking over, it might come down as lean as 13 to 1 or whatever. But you can see that live, and he's been using that on an ongoing basis to jet his scooter, which is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the net result is that he's brought it in here, and his jetting was damn near perfect. The only thing I did notice was that his SIP Lambda sensor did tend to read just half a point, or 0.5 to 0.7 of a point richer than my dyno, and so that might lead him to, if he ran it a bit sort of close to the bone and didn't leave himself any room for manoeuvre, he might end up with slightly lean jetting. But if you're aware that the SIP version, in his setup at least, was running showing slightly richer readings, then you can build that in. But he's used those readings as a high-low setting and got his jetting almost perfect. And all he needed actually was a half clip shim setting on the needle. He got it on the top clip on clip 1 with a half shim on there and shim underneath it to put it on 1.5. And when I dynoed it all up, the only lean spot I could find was in that transitional period where it's coming on pipe on the atomizer needle clip setting, and I felt that he needed to go up to the second clip to really just build in a bit of a safety buffer for any you know, lean spots in the rev range. But other than that, he'd done a great job of getting this dialed in, and you know, that's down to the Lambda sensor. So it came as a bit of a surprise to me that these were even available to be plugged into scooters. So yeah, it can be a bit of a chew just to drill the exhaust out and you know, weld the boss in, and pretty much once you've done that, you know, it's there. But what a cracking bit of kit. So we ran it up on the dyno. He ended up with a great result, 28 horsepower and 25 foot-pounds of torque. Now that is entirely down to the fact that he's got the good power of 28 horsepower, but the Nordspeed is a very low revving pipe, and it was peaking at 6,000, just over 6,000 RPM. And so the lower in the rev range the peak power is, the better the torque figure is. So with 28 horsepower at just over 6,000, he got 25 foot-pounds of torque, which is a stonking result. The only negative I would say is that it comes on pipe around 4,000 and then peaks at 6, and there's a bit of over rev to 7, but you essentially have quite a big lump of power, but it's squashed into a sort of 4,000 to 6,000 pound range. So it's sort of, I said to him, this must come on song and really rip through the gears. And he says he does. He said, you know, the front end's wanting to come up all the time, and it's because of, it's almost like a wall of power. So after a bit of a conversation, I asked if he'd tried the Pinasco Clubman box pipe that came with it, and he hadn't. And I said, you know, it's made for this kit. You may lose, you know, 10% of your peak horsepower or whatever, but I think you will find that you will gain a much wider spread of power, and so it'd be at least worth trying it. And especially given the fact that he's got a Lambda sensor screwed to his bike, doesn't have to worry about, you know, going out there and the jetting not being safe, and him holding a piston. So he can swap exhausts around and try them, and you know, to his heart's content. But I just thought it was a really interesting concept that SIP sell these add-ons. I hadn't heard of them. I may well be the only person in the scooter industry who didn't know that SIP did this as an add-on, but I thought it was well worth drawing attention to it, because if you're technically minded and you like that sort of stuff, you like your cylinder head temperature gauges and you like your rev counters, then this is certainly a worthwhile add-on, which could just add to your armoury of safety items for keeping the jetting right and keeping your scooter safe and on the road. So, but yeah, great little engine, Pinasco 251, reed valve, 28 horsepower, 25 foot-pounds of torque, peaks at 6,000 with a bit of over rev, so should be, you know, good for over 70 mile an hour with standard P2 gearing. Nice little scooter, but yeah, I really liked that Lambda sensor on it, so something worth thinking about. I'll see if I can find them on the SIP website and perhaps pop a link in the description. So that's all for now. See you on the next video.